Today, we will delve into the golden rules of Stoicism through these videos over an hour. From the timeless wisdom of Marcus Aurelius to the fundamental principles that have the power to transform our lives, we will share how this ancient philosophy can be applied in the modern world to help us face daily challenges and find a deeper meaning in our existence. If it's your first time on my channel, I ask for your support by subscribing and liking the video, so I can continue creating more content like this in the future. As we embark on this journey, I invite you to reflect on your own life, question your beliefs, and consider how the principles of Stoicism can help you achieve greater mental clarity, lasting inner peace, and a deeper connection with the world around you. Prepare to dive into the wisdom of the Stoics, to learn timeless lessons that will guide you towards a more fulfilling and meaningful life. This journey is not just an exploration of Stoicism but also an opportunity to transform your perspective and find a path towards authentic happiness and inner fulfillment. Let's start this journey together towards discovery and transformation. Discover how to control your emotions and unlock your true potential with our ebook, The Power of the Mind. Click on the link in the pinned first comment to get it now. Let's begin. 7 habits that weaken you. Eliminate them from your life immediately. Stoicism. The world is full of traps at every corner, ready to snatch away your masculine power. Just take a look at every famous movie or Netflix show being promoted or the types of people who are being idolized today. Nothing escapes the mental control agenda of the elites. Men are being brainwashed to accept weakness. There is a very famous story about a lion that I want you to hear. If it's your first time on my channel, I ask for your support by subscribing and liking the video, so I can continue creating more content like this in the future. There was once a fierce lion that was feared by all. One day, the lion fell in love with the farmer's daughter. But there was a problem. The farmer hated the lion and, upon finding out about the lion's love for his daughter, wanted to do everything possible to prevent it. So, the cunning farmer called the lion and told him he would only allow him to marry his daughter on one condition, that the lion remove his sharp claws for the safety of his daughter. The lion thought, well, it's just a small price for a great reward, and went to a rock and broke his claws. The next day, he went to the farmer and said, now I have no sharp claws. Give me your daughter's hand in marriage, but the cunning farmer told him to do one more thing, to remove his sharp teeth and fangs. The lion agreed to this condition as well and broke his sharp teeth and fangs. However, when the lion returned to the farmer the next day, the farmer attacked and killed him. This time, the lion had neither claws nor sharp teeth to defend himself. Everything that gave the lion strength, he chose to voluntarily give up, one by one. Remember, brothers, the world you live in today is no different. There are much greater forces at play that have carefully designed the matrix to keep you enslaved to your desires and impulses. And here is the hard truth: you can blame the farmer or the elites all you want, but at the end of the day, it was the lion who chose to obey them voluntarily. Strength is the virtue that all men must follow, whether in professional, financial, or romantic life. Every man naturally wants to feel dominant, strong, and powerful because that is what you are. All men desire a strong sense of drive, but many of us don't have it because we engage in behaviors that prevent us from becoming the strong men we were meant to be. Today, men complain about everything, spend too much money on drugs and pornography, and even apologize to others for things that do not require apologies, and develop habits that weaken them. Number 1, mocking others. This is a point that not many people talk about, but as a high-value man, you should never belittle others to elevate your own status. It can show you as someone insecure and disrespectful. This is a crucial aspect that is often overlooked when talking about authentic masculinity. Maybe you have heard the example of the crab bucket. When one crab is about to escape from the bucket, others pull it back. When someone is trying to improve their life or achieve a goal, sometimes others may feel uncomfortable or jealous. This type of attitude is neither constructive nor honorable. If you find yourself mocking others, remember you are beneath them. End of story. Of course, this doesn't mean you shouldn't correct someone for their mistakes, but don't ridicule them. As a man, You should teach and guide your brothers without grudges or ulterior motives. You can offer constructive correction and valuable advice so they can learn and grow. Remember, strong and confident men do not belittle others. Instead, listen to what Mike Tyson says about it. Social media has made you very comfortable with disrespecting people and not getting punched in the face for it. Number 2, failing to accept responsibility. Going back to the story of the lion and the farmer's daughter, the main reason why the lion loses everything in the end can be summed up in the fact that he was not aware of his responsibility. His responsibility was to live as a lion. His prey and sharp claws were part of what made him a lion, but he forgot this responsibility and chose to abandon it. The same happens in your life. Take your responsibilities proudly. Responsibilities are not a burden but an integral part of our existence. I want you to say with me, I will honor my responsibilities with pride because they are what make me a man. The day you choose to escape from your responsibilities is the day you opt to abandon your masculinity completely. I want you to memorize this quote, the price of greatness is responsibility. Listen to it again, the price of greatness is responsibility. This not only strengthens our identity as men but also contributes to the well-being of those around us. Responsibility should not be avoided or abandoned. Instead, it should be embraced as a path to greatness and fulfilling our potential as men. Number 3, running away from failure. This is a challenge for many men today. Most men always choose comfort over growth. Remember that growth is painful and often hidden behind failure. There's a famous example of a man digging for diamonds. He doesn't know that deep beneath the surface lies the diamond. But he keeps digging. At first, he only sees more dirt every time he digs, but he continues. After a few hours or even days, he finds what he was looking for. So remember, brothers, failure is not the end. If that's the mentality you have, you can be sure that you will never succeed in anything. Think of anything worth having. Suppose you start a business. At first, you might face many so-called failures as you try to learn the business and win over your customers. But when you stay in the game long enough and don't try to run away from these temporary failures, you will see yourself grow. The same happens with women. At first, when you approach them, you might seem like a strange man who doesn't know how to interact, but your success lies behind these temporary failures. This is a small price a strong man must pay for success. We are often trained as children to be ashamed of our mistakes and failures and to try justifying them by blaming someone else. You might have said, "It's not my fault," or "That person is to blame." These are the thoughts of a loser. I want you to listen to this quote and write it down somewhere if you wish. It is a weak man who blames his failure on the strength of others. Number 4, submission to feudal laws too easily. Do you want to know the difference between a coward and a high-value man? Simple. The coward always aligns with the majority, even if what they are saying is clearly wrong. And the worst part is that the coward expects the high-value man to also submit to these feudal and harmful laws and regulations. A high-value man always examines and judges everything before deciding to follow. In today's world, we have been so conditioned by the mindset that you should not judge or that you should not do this or that this is getting out of control. You are merely a puppet and a lab rat at this point, submitting to all the agendas and laws they create. There is nothing wrong with obeying, but obey only what is aligned with your purpose, your mission, and above all, remember that beyond God, nothing is above the law of the Almighty. Ask yourself if you are someone who is easily intimidated and tries to please everyone. For some men, it can be incredibly difficult to learn to say no, but if you act based on truth, you will realize that the world will not crumble around you. I have seen many men lead a life of fear in marriage as if their wives were some kind of tyrants, and they dare not speak up or correct them. This is a clear example of feudal submission. Number 5, you have weak body language. The concept of body language is very important. This includes nonverbal signals like a handshake, eye contact, how you sit, walk, and move when you converse and relate with others. People can perceive if you are a strong or weak man by your body language. In today's society, where agendas and expectations may have turned against traditionally strong masculinity, it's more important than ever for men to be aware of their body language. Being intentional with your body means you must strive to project an image of confidence, strength, and determination. Maintain an upright and confident posture, walk with a firm and assured step, and maintain adequate eye contact when interacting with others. Be intentional with your body and maintain a masculine stance. Remember, your body language is your letter of introduction before you say a word. It can influence how others perceive you and how they treat you. Presenting yourself as a strong and confident man through your body language makes it less likely for others to try to take advantage of you. It is a valuable skill for any man seeking to succeed in personal and professional life. Number 6, always wasting time. We always talk about the importance of your young days on this channel. Your 20s and to some extent your 30s are what we call the golden days. These are the days when you should build, and build. Imagine a farmer who sows a seed. He does not expect the seed to bear fruit the next day. In your 20s, just like the farmer, you must sow spiritual, emotional, and physical seeds that will help you grow. But here's the most important part: do not expect to harvest those fruits immediately. Just keep sowing, and before you know it, you will have planted forests and gardens that attract the right kind of life. When I say sow, I mean challenge yourself. This does not mean you should strive and work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but always keep in mind that these are the days when you have the most energy and opportunities to take risks. Take advantage of this, especially when you are young. You may feel that you are missing out on the culture of being with multiple people by investing in yourself, but resist that temptation. You may not understand it now, but as you mature in age, you will thank yourself for not getting distracted. Listen to what the wisest man on earth has to say about your young days. These are the words of Solomon: "You who are young, be happy while you are young, and let your heart give you joy in the days of your youth. Follow the ways of your heart and whatever your eyes see, but know that for all these things God will bring you into judgment." Number 7, being lazy and unproductive with your time. The way we structure our day and manage our time can make a big difference in our path to success and personal development. What time do you go to bed, and what time do you get up? How is your day structured? What do you do when you come back from work? These are all questions that you should take seriously, not consider them as a secondary task that you can tackle when you have free time. As a man seeking success in all areas, you must carefully plan your day. Think about why the powerful are so successful. Every aspect and area was carefully planned. Similarly, think about every part of your day, the people you interact with, and the type of content you consume. If you do not have the right thoughts in your mind, be aware that you have given open access for the matrix to penetrate you. Laziness is the greatest enemy of men today. As a man, you may have many thoughts related to business or life, but never act on them. If you allow laziness to gradually seep into you without realizing it, laziness will devour you and prevent you from moving forward productively in your life. Always remember, brothers, that laziness only succeeds against weak men because a high-value man learns quickly to detect and correct it. Always stay aware of laziness and combat it as soon as possible. So remember, brothers, weakness is the virtue of the modern era. Weakness is what they pursue, but strength is your greatest virtue. Seek strength in every opportunity, and remember that God is your greatest strength. Every day presents opportunities to grow and advance towards our goals, and it is up to us to seize these opportunities consciously and decisively. Strength, both physical and mental, is a valuable asset in this pursuit, and seeking support in personal and spiritual beliefs can provide a solid foundation to face life's challenges. 5 Lessons to Master Your Emotions according to Marcus Aurelius. Marcus Aurelius is one of the most renowned Stoic philosophers in history. He ruled as Roman emperor from 161 to 180 AD and was the last ruler of a line later known as the 5 Good Emperors. Marcus Aurelius held one of the highest power positions in the world at that time and dedicated his life to fairness and justice, a more than honorable feat since he had access to the realization of all his temptations and desires at his will without any obstacle. During his time as king, Aurelius made time to write a series of autobiographical texts that are now known as the Meditations, which have become one of the most important texts within Stoic philosophy. In the Meditations, Aurelius offers guidelines on how to improve oneself, focusing mainly on adopting a cosmic perspective and critically analyzing the judgment you have about yourself and others. As the leader of a powerful empire that went through multiple wars during his reign, Aurelius used his Stoic philosophy to eliminate stress and be the most reliable and efficient leader he could be. If it's your first time on my channel, I ask for your support by subscribing and liking the video so I can continue creating more content like this in the future. Stoicism is an ancient and extremely influential philosophy that represents not just a theory but also a deeply inspiring way of thinking and living. The Stoics firmly held that doing the right thing was the key to achieving individual happiness, and to do the right thing, solid judgment and rational thinking were required. Of course, in this video we will explain how you can grow a mind through 5 essential lessons, all based on the teachings of Marcus Aurelius. Lesson 1: Embrace virtues. Quoting Marcus Aurelius, "Delve within yourself because a fountain of goodness is ready to flow if you keep searching." Virtue is understood as character excellence or, simply, morally correct behavior. This behavior benefits you, those around you, and contributes to the common good. Stoicism embraces the idea of an interconnected universe where everything and everyone shares a bond. Hence, what serves the common good eventually benefits you as well. Therefore, Stoics firmly believed that those in harmony with reason were those who committed themselves to the broader well-being. In other words, they practiced virtues. Conversely, the absence of virtuous conduct is attributed to ignorance. According to Stoics, when life leads you to unforeseen circumstances, virtues can be your guides, steering you on the right path and keeping you centered. This is why the most virtuous people often radiate calmness and composure. To incorporate virtues into your life, it's crucial to internalize Stoicism's 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, justice, temperance, and courage. From the Stoic perspective, wisdom involves discerning between good, bad, neutral, and everything in between. It means overcoming emotions and allowing reason to guide what is morally right in a dilemma. Wisdom gives you the power to analyze both options with mental clarity. Next is justice, which is based on wisdom and represents a commitment to what is right and equitable for both oneself and others. Stoics saw it as a duty towards oneself, others, and society as a whole. Courage, the third virtue, enables you to act even when you feel personal fear. It drives you to take actions for the common good or to take on challenges despite uncertainties about the outcome. Courage does not imply the elimination of fear, desire, or anxiety but a conscious decision to move forward, overcoming emotional barriers. Lastly, temperance, also known as moderation, involves maintaining a balance between extremes. It's about exercising self-control, restraint, and discipline. Marcus Aurelius highlighted the human capacity for self-regulation, distinguishing us from animals. Temperance prioritizes long-term well-being over momentary gratification. For example, indulging in a bag of chips might offer momentary pleasure but risks health and mood. In this case, practicing temperance means stopping after a few bites. Wisdom is essential to determine the right amount before applying the brakes. Stoicism classifies both things and actions into categories of goods, evils, and indifferences. Seeking good, avoiding evil, and accepting indifference according to personal preference are fundamental principles. Deviating from these virtues would be to promote evil, stealing, showing disrespect, acting recklessly, or refraining from doing good. Seek good, avoid evil, and accept indifference according to personal preference are principles. Fundamental to move away from these virtues would be to promote evil, to steal, show disrespect, acting recklessly, or refraining from doing good. Actions considered indifferent such as taking a leisurely walk do not conform to these principles. Virtues offer more than just personal improvements, they foster a state of serenity and composure. Align your actions with these virtues, guarantee that you always move along the path of righteousness, guided by reason and thus cultivating a calm mind. Lesson 2. Embrace a wider perspective. In our concluding quote from Marcus Aurelius, he eloquently shares the wisdom of Plato: when you want to talk about people, it's better to adopt a panoramic view and see everything all at once. Adopting a panoramic view is vital to achieving mental clarity amid life's hustle. We often find ourselves trapped in the thick of each problem and challenge, feeling as though we're carrying the world's weight. Imagine being part of a small crowd. It might seem as if the entire city is suffocated by congestion. However, changing your perspective by just a few steps can reveal a completely different reality. In essence, when we detach and contemplate the grand tapestry of our world and existence, we realize how small our personal experiences are and how minuscule we are in the grand scheme of things. This change in perspective unveils the expansive realm beyond our immediate encounter. Often, people overlook the truth that their encounters and viewpoints are not the only ones deserving consideration, even within their own lives. Consider someone who has had an unfavorable experience with dogs. They might find it hard to conceive that dogs could be beloved companions for others unless they deliberately acknowledge the possibility of diverse experiences. From time to time, it is essential to pause and ask yourself, what am I overlooking or not fully understanding? This self-evaluation practice has numerous advantages. Consider this scenario: you must decide whether to stay in your current job or accept a position elsewhere. This choice can be overwhelming, especially if you're unsure if either option will fulfill your goals. Although your current job offers stability, and you have reservations about the additional responsibilities that a promotion would entail, the allure of an improved salary is tempting. It's easy to feel trapped in this dilemma. However, beneath the surface lies a wealth of unexplored opportunities. Have you considered venturing into a completely different field or exploring a side project that complements your current job? Perhaps diving into a passion to divert your focus from tasks you find less attractive? It's entirely plausible that numerous unexplored opportunities in life are escaping your awareness. Adopting a panoramic perspective instead of focusing solely on immediate concerns significantly aids in formal decision-making. Expanding your focus is not only valuable for determining priorities but also for forming opinions and making a comprehensive judgment. It is imperative to consider all aspects and possibilities within a given situation. Additionally, stepping back implies temporarily distancing yourself from personal biases and viewpoints. Momentarily relinquishing your desires can provide a new perspective, forcing you to reflect on those around you and your responsibilities towards them. In the intensity of the moment, an action such as littering might seem trivial. However, by pausing and expanding your perspective to consider the world and the potential consequences if everyone acted in the same way, the insignificance of your desire to litter becomes clearly evident. As mentioned earlier, the Stoics firmly believed in the interconnection of everything in the world, positing that the general betterment of the world inherently contributes to personal well-being. Therefore, taking a step back to embrace a global perspective, rather than focusing solely on your life, holds immense importance in the face of a decision, adversity, challenge, or significant change. Lesson 3. Exercise the duality of control. In the words of Marcus Aurelius, your power resides in your mind, not in external events. Recognize this, and you will find strength. The duality of control is the distinction between what we can control and what we cannot. For example, the weather, traffic problems, or what others think about you are beyond your control. However, how you dress, when you leave the house, and the type of people you surround yourself with are within your control. So, every time you face a situation that makes you feel a certain way, ask yourself what is in our hands to control. Everything we can control is a reason to act. What we cannot control, we must learn to accept and embrace it without letting it affect us. A very important part of the duality of control is amor fati, which translates to the love of fate. When you embrace life and all the circumstances it brings, you will always love life. You cannot escape fate or decide the circumstances that are beyond your control. But you can choose to love your life, no matter what. If you find out you were rejected for a job you have wanted for years, you might think there is no redemption in such a situation. You wanted the job, you tried, and you failed. You couldn't pretend to love fate in a circumstance like this. However, this is a misunderstanding. Instead of seeing the fact that you did not meet your ambition as something purely negative, investigate what led to the negative outcome and use it to make a positive decision. Whether you did not get the job due to a failure on your part, in which case this is something you can control, you can work on those flaws and try again when a similar opportunity arises in the future. Or the reason was an external factor like nepotism or a clash of personality with a hiring staff member, this was never in your control. This means the opportunity never really existed, and it makes no sense to be angry about something that never was. Part of accepting fate is distancing yourself from a fixed outcome and external success markers. For example, if you want to be a writer and measure your success by how many sales your book makes, you will allow your success to be controlled by the arbitrary book market of the moment. But if you choose to measure your success by how satisfied you are with your final product or by the amount of work you put into it, then you control your success. Undoubtedly, strive to the fullest to achieve your goals. But be aware that there is a possibility of not reaching them and accept it in advance. By focusing only on what we can control and committing to accept what is not under our control as it comes, we experience inner peace regardless of what happens. Lesson 4. Train your perception. Marcus Aurelius advises us, choose not to feel harmed, and you won't feel harmed. One of the great teachings of Stoicism is taking control of our perception. We are accustomed to judging everything we encounter. Every event we experience, every person we meet, all receive a judgment. It's good, bad, boring, fun, beautiful, ugly, etc. This practice, although unconscious, is exhausting and can negatively affect our lives. For instance, labeling every interaction on a particularly difficult day as terrible taints the day with an even more negative perspective. Labeling a party as boring becomes the narrative for that week. Often, we allow our emotions to influence our judgments, meaning these are not entirely rational. Furthermore, our tendency to judge every moment goes hand in hand with the excessive use of metaphors and hyperboles, which exaggerate situations. If your partner leaves you, you might say your ex broke your heart, instead of accepting the fact that their feelings have changed. This way of thinking shapes our emotions. It's not the event itself that makes us feel bad, but how we choose to think about it, often unconsciously. The Stoics, on the other hand, encourage caution when evaluating everything you encounter and the actions you undertake. One way to be cautious involves challenging your judgments, which essentially means looking beyond them. It's having the ability to set aside your first impression and evaluate something through a more optimistic and reasonable lens. You could try to see that boring part of the party as an opportunity to explore a new place and meet some different people. Even if you find that you didn't connect with anyone, you didn't enter with the expectation of negativity. Therefore, practicing restraint to not judge everything based solely on your first impressions and emotions is the best path to training your perception of life. Whenever you have an opinion formed about something, try to question yourself, is this logical? On what did I base my opinion? Is there a better or more positive way to interpret this? Marcus Aurelius emphasized that damages only exist if you perceive them as such. This implies that any difficult experience you've gone through seems more challenging and negative the more you perceive it that way. You have total control over how much certain situations affect you. The Stoics also encourage you to see anything negative as an opportunity or a source of good. As an exercise to cultivate a Stoic perspective, there is a challenge called turning the obstacle upside down. For example, when a new colleague is a slow learner and their mistakes affect the company's earnings, you might feel frustration. This colleague becomes an obstacle to what you're trying to achieve: efficiency, effectiveness, and profit. However, this situation can also be an opportunity for good. It's an opportunity to practice patience, to improve your skills as a teacher, to learn how to integrate new people into the company, and how to handle stressful moments. All these skills will be useful in the long run and should contribute to increasing long-term profits as well. On this topic, Marcus Aurelius famously said, "What stands in the way becomes the way." In summary, instead of judging everything in an exaggerated way, take the time to see things objectively as they are. You might realize that life is simpler and clearer than you thought. Every situation has a positive and a negative interpretation. By adjusting your mindset accordingly, you'll discover that past annoyances no longer affect you as much, and you navigate life with much greater ease. Lesson 5. Learn to control your emotions. Marcus Aurelius advises us not to let our emotions override the reasoning of our mind. We must stop being hypocritical, self-centered, and irritable. Acting impulsively due to emotions often stands in stark contrast to acting rationally, and this is for a reason. Nothing clouds our judgment more than our own emotions. Therefore, if you wish to maintain a clear mind at all times, one of the most crucial skills you must master is the ability to control your emotions. According to Marcus Aurelius, the emotion of anger, in particular, harms us more than it benefits us. Contrary to what many believe, controlling your emotions does not mean suppressing them. When you experience intense anger as a result of betrayal, you can't control that anger by denying its existence to yourself or others or pretending you're fine. It will remain there no matter how much you try to suppress it. Instead, according to the Stoics, controlling emotions like anger is achieved by redirecting it. So, the next time you're experiencing anger, ask yourself what you can do with that anger. Yelling at the person who hurt you may seem tempting, but will it lessen your pain or improve your situation? Will it help the person who betrayed you become better? In short, think about what you're tempted to do and then ask yourself if it's helpful. If not, find ways to express your emotions that are useful. Perhaps you can achieve better results by talking calmly with the person who hurt you, explaining your feelings, and trying to see their point of view. You could also write in a journal, engage in physical exercise, lose yourself in a video game, or anything else that may help you release your anger. Another example is anxiety or fear. You can't simply stifle these feelings, but you can channel them in another direction. Instead of allowing anxiety to paralyze you, you can use it as a personal challenge, as a push to take actions that make you feel anxious, and acknowledge its presence throughout the process. Imagine you're too scared to ask your boss for a raise. For many, this fear becomes a reason to avoid taking that action, succumbing to their anxiety. Others might go ahead and see their anxiety as an obstacle to be suppressed and ignored. However, neither of these perspectives needs to be the only option. Instead, your fear is something that can be expressed healthily and might even end up being useful. For instance, this fear makes you think of everything that could go wrong, leading you to consider all possible questions your boss might ask, all the counterarguments you might receive. This way, you can prepare for them and form a plan for every possible scenario. Most importantly, fear provides positive motivation to move forward, to challenge yourself, and grow as a person. To prove to yourself that you can do it, not despite your fear but partly thanks to it. And in that scenario, you can be aware of the anxiety throughout the process and think how amazing it is that you're trying anyway. When you skillfully redirect intense emotions, you become someone calm regardless of the circumstances, and your emotions never affect your ability to think clearly and make smart decisions. Controlling your emotions is essential for maintaining mental peace. 6 lessons to calm stress according to Marcus Aurelius. In the midst of the tumult and discord of contemporary life, it's common to feel trapped in a labyrinth of emotions, anxieties, and circumstances that seem beyond our control. While we constantly yearn for tranquility and joy, Stoicism presents itself as an ancient guide that leads us toward inner serenity, even in the face of external adversities. If this is your first time on my channel, I ask for your help by subscribing and liking the video, so I can continue creating more content like this in the future. In this journey of philosophical reflection, we will explore how the practice of acting as if disturbances do not affect us can help us find true inner peace. Stoicism, with its roots in ancient Greece and Rome, offers us a valuable approach to facing life situations with a Stoic mindset, where our reactions and perspectives are shaped by wisdom and rationality. Throughout this video, we will explore the fundamental pillars of Stoicism. We will discover how emotional composure becomes armor against adversity, how the discipline of thought frees us from the tyranny of our uncontrollable emotions, and how detachment allows us to embrace life with openness and flexibility. Through the lessons of Stoic philosophers like Marcus Aurelius, we will learn to accept reality and see adversity as an opportunity to strengthen ourselves, as well as to use the power of choosing our responses in any situation. Stoicism is not just an ancient philosophy but an eternal compass that guides us to find inner peace in a tumultuous world. Join us on this journey of self-knowledge and transformation as we explore how adopting an unshakable attitude can lead us to a state of serenity in Stoicism, navigating with tranquility and elegance through the vicissitudes of life. Discover how to control your emotions and unlock your true potential with our new ebook, The Power of the Mind. Click the link in the pinned first comment to get it now. Let's begin. To solidly understand Stoicism, it's crucial to establish a firm foundation in its fundamental principles. Stoicism is not merely a philosophy but a guide that leads us through life's storms, allowing us to find inner peace regardless of external circumstances. As previously mentioned, here are the basic concepts, simplified. Distinguishing between what we can and cannot control. Stoics believe in the importance of differentiating between what is within our control and what is not. Much of human suffering comes from worrying about things beyond our reach. Instead of agonizing over what we cannot control, we should direct our energy and focus toward what we can directly influence, such as our attitudes and actions. The importance of our responses. For Stoics, events themselves do not affect us as much as our reactions to them. Cultivating a calm and controlled mind involves learning to respond to situations in an intelligent and rational manner, rather than being dominated by impulsive emotions. This entails developing the ability to handle adversities with calm and wisdom, regardless of how challenging the circumstances are. Accepting the changing nature of life. This is one of the core principles of Stoicism. It reminds us that life is full of inevitable ups and downs. Instead of resisting changes and difficulties, we are encouraged to embrace them and face them with acceptance, knowing that they are a natural and unavoidable part of the human journey. By accepting impermanence and the changing nature of all things, we find serenity even amidst adversities. Virtue as a guide. This principle is central to the Stoics, who believe that virtue is the path to happiness and inner peace. Cultivating qualities like wisdom, justice, moderation, and courage helps us live in harmony with ourselves and the world around us. These virtues guide us in making ethical decisions and allow us to maintain our moral integrity even in the most challenging circumstances. In summary, the fundamental principles of Stoicism invite us to develop a mindset that clearly distinguishes between what we can control and what we cannot. They teach us to manage our emotional reactions, accept change as a natural part of life, and live ethically. By building this solid foundation, we are prepared to explore even more the lessons and practices of Stoicism. We discover that acting as if nothing disturbs us not only leads to inner peace but also to emotional imperturbability, regardless of the adversities we face on our journey through life. To achieve inner peace through Stoicism, detachment emerges as an invaluable tool that liberates us from the chains of desires and expectations, enabling us to find serenity in emotional balance. Let's delve deeper into how detachment can guide us in our quest for emotional peace. Detachment teaches us not to cling too tightly to the outcomes of our actions. Instead of obsessing over achieving specific goals, we focus on giving our best in every situation. We accept whatever comes with serenity and without excessive expectations. This attitude frees us from the stress and anxiety associated with the fear of failure, allowing us to embrace each experience as an opportunity for learning. Practicing detachment makes us more flexible and receptive to the opportunities life presents. By not being rigidly tied to a particular outcome, we are open to exploring new paths and discovering potential in various situations. This mindset allows us to adapt to changes and gives us the ability to see difficulties as challenges that can lead to personal growth. Detachment removes us from the constant worry about the future, allowing us to immerse fully in the present moment. By letting go of anxiety about what is to come, we find a deeper connection with the present. This connection provides us with inner peace, as it enables us to appreciate the small joys of life and find meaning in the current moment. Life is filled with uncertainties and unexpected challenges. Detachment provides us with a solid emotional foundation that helps us navigate through life's turbulent waters with grace and serenity. By freeing ourselves from resistance and struggle against the inevitable, we find a deeper calm. This inner peace allows us to face obstacles with calm and consideration, instead of being swept away by the waves of anxiety. In summary, practicing detachment involves letting go of the ties that bind us to anxiety and excessive emotional connections. It offers us the freedom to live with less anxiety regarding outcomes, which allows us to be open to new possibilities and find peace amidst uncertainty. By embracing detachment, we draw closer to acting as if nothing disturbs us and to living with the Stoic spirit that gracefully adapts to life's changes. 3. Thought discipline on the path to inner peace through Stoicism. Thought discipline is a fundamental tool we can use to shape our minds and develop a calm and balanced attitude. Here's a deeper exploration of how to cultivate this discipline in a straightforward manner. Thought discipline begins with awareness of the thoughts that pass through our minds. We become observers of our own minds, examining how we react to different situations and how these thoughts influence our emotions. This self-awareness allows us to better understand our emotional response to various circumstances. When our minds tend to interpret things negatively, thought discipline invites us to question those automatic interpretations. It encourages us to consider more objective and realistic perspectives, helping us to view situations from different angles and avoid exaggerated reactions. Once we identify negative or distorted thoughts, thought discipline challenges us to change them. We replace self-destructive thoughts with positive and rational affirmations. These affirmations help us maintain mental calmness and approach situations with a clear and tranquil mind. Thought discipline involves directing our attention towards what is under our control. We set aside what we cannot change and focus on our actions and attitudes. By not worrying about things outside our control, we conserve our mental energy for what truly matters, our reactions and how we choose to face situations. Gratitude and reflection are essential practices in thought discipline. Valuing what we have and reflecting on our achievements and learnings help us maintain a positive mindset. Gratitude allows us to appreciate the small joys of life, while reflection provides the opportunity to learn and grow from our experiences. In summary, thought discipline equips us with the tools to transform our minds into a space of clarity and serenity. By being aware of our thoughts, questioning negative interpretations, and practicing gratitude, we build a solid foundation for a balanced and stoic mind. With this practice, we move one step closer to acting as if nothing disturbs us and finding inner peace in all situations. 4. At the heart of Stoicism lies emotional serenity, a virtue that urges us to find inner peace even amidst emotional storms. This quality manifests in various ways. Emotional stability involves not succumbing to turbulent emotions when faced with difficult situations. Instead of allowing ourselves to panic or fall into anger, we cultivate the ability to remain serene and controlled. This calm grants us a peaceful perspective even in the most challenging moments. Stoics understand that we cannot avoid life's challenges, but we do have control over how we respond to them. Emotional serenity enables us to face difficulties with calm and reflection instead of being swept away by emotional impulses. This self-control allows us to handle situations with wisdom and consideration. Stoics encourage us not to let momentary events dictate our emotions. We remember that what truly matters are our actions over time. This perspective helps us avoid exaggerated reactions to temporary setbacks and guides us towards greater emotional stability. Emotional composure is not just about maintaining calm during tough times but also about not allowing ephemeral pleasures to dominate us. This attitude allows us to find deeper and lasting peace since we are not tied to the temporary fluctuations of pleasure and pain. Emotional serenity does not imply a denial of emotions but a path towards true wisdom. By learning to control our reactions, we become more aware of our emotions and can choose to respond in a balanced and rational manner. This self-awareness guides us towards a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us. In summary, emotional serenity equips us with the ability to maintain calm, control our reactions, adopt a long-term perspective, and find inner wisdom in all circumstances. By cultivating this virtue, we move closer to acting as if nothing disturbs us and living with unbreakable inner peace. 5. Visualizing adversity emerges as a powerful tool for facing life's challenges. Although it may seem paradoxical, imagining how to face difficulties can strengthen our emotions and help us maintain calm in tough moments. Here's a simple guide on how to practice this technique. Visualizing adversity involves taking a moment to imagine challenging situations that could arise, from an awkward conversation to a problem at work. This exercise helps us mentally prepare for these challenges. Once a difficult situation is identified, visualize how you would like to respond to it. Imagine yourself always calm, serene, and rational, even in the face of adversity. This exercise aids in cultivating a stoic attitude and preventing impulsive reactions. Visualizing adversity allows you to practice emotional resilience in a controlled environment. By mentally dealing with tough situations, you can train yourself to maintain calm and find solutions instead of succumbing to stress or frustration. By imagining overcoming obstacles, you develop confidence in your abilities and view challenges as opportunities for personal improvement and growth. Anticipating difficult situations often generates anxiety. Practicing adversity visualization reduces this anxiety by mentally preparing us to face anything that might arise. This allows us to maintain a calm and peaceful mind. In summary, visualizing adversity is a mental exercise that equips us to prepare for any challenge life may present. By anticipating difficulties, visualizing serene responses, and practicing emotional resilience, we are building a solid foundation to face these situations with calm and determination. 6. Accepting reality serves as a compass guiding us toward a more peaceful and balanced life. On our journey toward inner peace through Stoicism, learning to accept circumstances as they are can be challenging but a powerful tool for finding serenity. Here is a more detailed guide on how to cultivate this valuable quality. Stoics remind us that many things are outside our control. Accepting reality involves recognizing this fact and focusing on what we can control, our reactions, attitudes, and actions. By understanding this distinction, we free our minds from the weight of worrying about the uncontrollable. Resisting reality only causes more suffering. Accepting reality invites us to give up resistance and embrace what is. Learning to adapt to circumstances instead of fighting against them brings more peace. Acceptance allows us to flow with life rather than constantly resisting its changes. Fighting against what we cannot change only drains us and fills us with anxiety. By accepting reality, we free ourselves from unnecessary struggles and direct our energy towards improving what is within our reach. This redirected energy can be used for personal growth and to positively contribute to the world around us. Life is full of imperfections and challenges, but it also has its own beauty. Accepting reality as it is teaches us to find courage even in difficult situations and appreciate the full human experience. The dark side of kindness: 8 surprising ways it can hurt you. Stoicism. Imperfections and challenges are an integral part of human existence, and by accepting them, we learn valuable lessons that help us grow and evolve as individuals. Cultivating inner serenity: accepting reality is a path to inner peace. By freeing ourselves from fighting the inevitable, we find deeper calm and free ourselves from unnecessary stress and worry. Cultivating serenity allows us to face adversities with calm and grace, which in turn brings us greater inner peace. In summary, accepting reality is like opening the door to inner peace. By understanding what we can and cannot control, letting go of resistance, and finding beauty in imperfections, we build a Stoic mind capable of finding calm in all circumstances. In our unceasing search for inner peace through Stoicism, we are taught the idea that we should give, share, and prioritize generosity over our personal interests. But someone warns us about the dangers of being too kind and compassionate. We live in a world where we don't always receive what we give, as it is full of generous people who drain both their financial and energy resources through indiscriminate donations. If it's your first time on my channel, I ask for your help by subscribing and liking the video so I can continue creating more content like this in the future. Could excessive generosity even endanger our own lives? Be amazed by the unexpected negative effects that kindness can bring you. Today, I'll reveal the 8 things that happen to you for being too nice and introduce 4 Stoic strategies to prevent people from taking advantage of you. Without further ado, let's begin. Number 1, you will have unrealistic expectations of people. The Stoics emphasize the need to accept circumstances as they are and not base our happiness on the actions of others. By giving without expecting too much in return, you avoid disappointment and practice emotional detachment, which leads to greater peace of mind. Imagine this scenario: you strive to be generous and kind, giving your best to others without expecting anything in return. This attitude is noble, but we often find ourselves consciously or unconsciously expecting others to respond with the same level of generosity. We hope that people will recognize our efforts and reciprocate similarly. But what happens when these expectations are not met? The root of this problem lies in our expectations. Assuming that others will respond in the same way we do puts us in a vulnerable position. While it is natural to want others to appreciate and value our actions, Stoicism reminds us that we cannot control the actions of others. We can only control our own actions and reactions. It is difficult for us to be completely altruistic in our generosity, consciously or unconsciously. When we give our all, we expect others to do the same. However, you have become so accustomed to doing everything for them that they will take for granted that you can handle everything, both in their lives and yours, especially in yours, because why would they assume your responsibilities? The truth is, your expectations of reciprocity will not be met, and what will happen to you is that you will be in a bad mood, fatigued, frustrated, and disappointed. Stoicism teaches us that our true wealth lies in our ability to give without expecting anything in return, finding joy in the act of giving itself, and maintaining our peace of mind regardless of others' responses. Number 2, people will only expect you to give something. The practice of moderation, so valued by the Stoics, becomes an anchor in a sea of endless demands. Instead of yielding to the unlimited requests of others, Stoicism urges us to balance our generosity. By giving in a balanced way, we maintain control over our actions and avoid falling into patterns that wear down our emotional well-being. People often adapt to situations and environments that are comfortable for them. This human tendency is where the concept of the comfort zone is born. If we constantly take on the responsibilities of others, we are allowing them to remain in their comfort zones. They don't feel the need to grow or face challenges because they know we will always be there to cover their backs. The problem is not only for others but also for ourselves. By taking on so many other people's responsibilities, we neglect our own needs and priorities. We find ourselves trapped in a cycle of giving without receiving, which drains our energy and undermines our emotional well-being. Practicing moderation and giving in a balanced way allows you to maintain control over your actions and avoid falling into habits that wear down your emotional well-being. If you get used to giving all the time, the beneficiaries of your generosity will expect you to give them something all the time. It is important to give, but it is also crucial to maintain a balance by setting clear boundaries and practicing generosity in a balanced way. By preserving our own peace and well-being, we not only encourage others to take on their own responsibilities and grow as individuals. In this delicate balance, we find true generosity that nourishes both others and ourselves. Number 3, your priorities will be trampled on. The Stoics emphasize the importance of living according to reason and virtue. Establishing boundaries and prioritizing our own essential responsibilities is crucial to maintaining balance and avoiding sacrificing our authenticity and well-being for others. If you're giving everything for other people's priorities, you might find yourself running away from something inside you that causes pain and fear. The emotions that arise in these moments of loneliness can be overwhelming. The feeling of emptiness, the deafening silence, and the longing for connection can generate deep emotional discomfort. It is in these moments that we often seek refuge in the needs of others. We immerse ourselves in serving others as a way to fill the void we feel inside ourselves. The cost of this incessant giving is high. You lose yourself in the process. Your inner voice is drowned out by external demands, and sooner or later, when you face the stillness of your own being, the pain and fear you've been trying to avoid emerge with renewed force. It's crucial to recognize that attending to our own needs and priorities is not selfishness. It is a form of self-care and preservation of our authenticity. The Stoics teach us that setting boundaries and living according to our virtues is not only an act of self-love but also a path to an authentic and meaningful life. The next time you feel the temptation to run away from yourself in constant service to others, stop for a moment. Recognize those uncomfortable emotions that arise in solitude and embrace them with compassion. Allow yourself to be authentic in your desires and needs, set healthy boundaries, and learn to say no when necessary. You will find that by honoring your own authenticity, you not only strengthen yourself internally but also are able to offer balanced and genuine generosity to others from a place of fullness and authenticity. Number 4, you'll be seen as weak and treated as such. Stoicism encourages us to cultivate inner strength and self-control. By setting boundaries and practicing self-discipline, if you help too much, over time, you might be seen as an authority figure in the area where you collaborate with others, but you could give exactly the opposite impression. In this context, the lack of boundaries makes you vulnerable. People perceive this weakness and, instead of respecting you, they may start to take advantage of you. They see you as someone willing to take on others' responsibilities without question, and this can lead to a situation where you find yourself constantly overloaded, exhausted, and frustrated. When you start to say no firmly but respectfully, something incredible happens. People begin to perceive you differently. You're no longer the one willing to take on everything without a whimper. Now, you are someone who values yourself enough to set boundaries, someone who deserves to be treated with dignity and consideration. This change in perception is fundamental. By uttering that small word, you transform the way others see you. You're no longer easy prey for the incessant demands of others, you're a strong individual capable of defending your boundaries and, therefore, deserving of respect. Ultimately, respect comes not only from what you do for others but also from how you treat yourself. By setting boundaries and practicing self-discipline, you're sending a clear message to the world: you deserve to be treated with dignity and respect. So, the next time you find yourself in a situation where your boundaries are being tested, remember the strength that resides in that small word, no. By uttering it, you're defending yourself and affirming your own worth. Number 5, you'll have many buts. People will only come to you when they need something. When you become someone who is willing to help unconditionally, it's natural for people around you to start noticing. However, this attention can have a dark side. People who previously considered you a good friend might start to exclude you from fun social activities, reserving your presence only for when they need something. This pattern of behavior can seem heartless, but from a pragmatic perspective, it's not so surprising. People rarely invite their employees or collaborators to share leisure moments. It's more common for those invitations to extend to close friends, family, or people with whom they have a genuine and equitable relationship. This change in the way they treat you can be disconcerting and, in many ways, unfair. You find yourself in a position where you give freely only to feel left out when it comes to joyful and relaxed moments. This selective treatment can hurt and provoke feelings of disillusionment and betrayal. However, from the Stoic perspective, this kind of behavior is a litmus test for your discernment. It challenges you to recognize who truly values your friendship and appreciation and who is simply taking advantage of your generosity. It's important to remember that Stoicism does not advocate becoming cynical or distrustful but rather cultivating a deep understanding of human nature. Through discernment, you can choose to help those who genuinely need it and who will value your genuine support. Doing so not only protects your own energies and resources but also surrounds you with people who appreciate you for who you are, not just for what you can give them. Ultimately, this challenge provides you with the opportunity to practice Stoic self-discipline. You can choose to set clear boundaries and decide how you wish to spend your energy and time. By keeping your generosity balanced and focused on those who truly value your help, you can live according to Stoic principles and find a sense of peace and satisfaction amid the complexities of human relationships. Number 6, you'll attract only needy people and never those willing to give. According to the Stoics, our actions and thoughts emit an energy that attracts people with similar resonances. When we cultivate a positive mental and emotional state, we radiate high vibrations that attract equally positive individuals, generous, enthusiastic, and genuine people. However, when we give indiscriminately and emotionally and physically exhaust ourselves in the process, our energy weakens. We start to vibrate at a lower frequency, attracting needy people towards us. These individuals, far from being authentic and willing to give in a mutual relationship, approach us only to satisfy their own needs. Moreover, this low frequency also attracts opportunists, individuals who have neither the intention nor the resources to help but see in us an easy source of getting what they want. The key, according to Stoic philosophy, lies in discernment and self-discipline. We must learn to recognize when we are giving too much and draining our own energies. This involves setting clear boundaries and practicing moderation in our generosity. By doing so, we maintain our vibrations at a high frequency and attract people who value our authenticity and are willing to contribute reciprocally in the relationship. By being mindful of our energies and practicing balanced generosity, we can cultivate authentic and mutually beneficial relationships. These relationships are based on reciprocity, respect, and genuine mutual appreciation rather than one-sided exploitation. Ultimately, this allows us to live according to Stoic principles and experience true human connection based on honesty and integrity. Number 7, you might fall into addiction. When the Stoics warn us about the possibility of falling into addiction, they remind us that moderation and self-control are essential to maintain a balanced and healthy life. In the context of generosity, practicing self-discipline protects us from falling into addictive patterns that can arise when we constantly feel drained and needy due to our overextension. Living according to Stoic principles, we recognize that generosity must be in balance. Giving without measure and without restrictions can deplete our own emotional and physical reserves, leading us to seek relief in addictive forms such as overeating, drinking, or gaming. Stoic philosophy teaches us to pay attention to warning signs that come through people close to us. If someone we trust points out that we're resorting too much to certain behaviors, we should take those observations seriously. It's natural for our first reaction to be denial, especially when we're caught in the cycle of an incipient addiction. However, these concerns come from a genuine place of care and love. Accepting these observations with humility and gratitude is a crucial step toward self-awareness and personal growth. By doing so, we are practicing Stoic philosophy in action, applying the principles of moderation and self-control to avoid falling into addictive traps that may undermine our health and well-being. Remember, people who care about us do so with the intention of helping us overcome challenges and move towards a more fulfilling and meaningful life. By taking their observations seriously, we are showing deep consideration for our own well-being and a genuine commitment to our personal growth and long-term happiness. Number 8, you'll awaken suspicions. Stoicism encourages us to act virtuously regardless of how others may perceive us. By focusing on living in harmony with our principles and values, we build a genuine reputation that is resistant to unfounded suspicions. Although we would like things to be different, the truth is that genuinely kind people are not abundant in this world. Therefore, if you are one of them, you will awaken suspicion rather than admiration and gratitude. It won't be long before you show your kindness for people to start wondering what's going on with you and what hidden intentions you have that you reveal to no one. This means you found a group of distrustful people. Not necessarily, but it's more likely they are realists. Most overly enthusiastic people tend to hide intentions so dark that it's better to stay away from them and renounce the help they want to provide. Let's look at strategies to prevent people from using you. Strategy number 1, listen to your feelings, they are speaking to you. Based on the Stoic idea of self-awareness, pay attention to your emotions and feelings. The Stoics believed in the importance of self-reflection to understand your reactions and needs. By listening to your feelings, you can identify if you are giving too much and emotionally exhausting yourself, allowing you to adjust your approach and find a healthy balance. How do you feel when you help others? Thinking about yourself and prioritizing them is such an altruistic act that practicing it should make you feel like you're walking on clouds. Then, if you feel overwhelmed, without energy, angry, or used, it's time to pay attention to your feelings. If something you're not obliged to do causes you so much discomfort, it's necessary not to deceive yourself so you can discover how the help you're providing affects your well-being. Strategy number 2, lose the fear of the word no. Following Stoic teachings, recognize that your time and energy are valuable and should be allocated consciously and balanced. Saying no in situations where you feel overwhelmed or when the request is unfair is a way to exercise self-control. Although the word no is associated with negative behavior and pessimism, it's normal for us to struggle to say no. However, negativity will become our life if we do not develop the ability to say this word when someone demands more than we can give. Practice in front of the mirror and convince yourself that it is the only way to regain your freedom and avoid unnecessary and potential risks. Strategy number 3, there is a time and space for you, respect them. Following the Stoic principles of self-discipline and self-respect, it is essential to set aside time and space for self-care. Do what you enjoy, practice yoga, draw, listen to music while having a cup of tea, whatever motivates you. Finish your obligations as soon as possible so that you can practice this. This is something you must take very seriously as scheduling this time daily or weekly. Therefore, if someone asks for your help during that time, they must be very respectful and cooperative with you, not with the person. Then, without remorse, tell them no and enjoy that time and space just for yourself. If you don't want to be too abrupt, you can offer your help for another time, but always make it clear that your availability will be limited because you have a life to attend to. Strategy number 4, identify energy vampires and stay away from them. Following the Stoic principles of self-discipline and discernment, it's important to recognize which relationships benefit you and which can emotionally drain you. By distancing yourself from people who constantly deplete your energy and do not contribute positively, you're taking care of your own well-being and applying Stoic self-control in your relationships. If you try to help an energy vampire, you should know it will not work. These people overwhelm you with their complaints, pains, and catastrophic view of life. Forget about helping them. They don't want to solve their problems because that would mean stopping their complaints, something not tolerated in Stoic life. The best measure for things is always the middle ground, and generosity is no exception. If we give too little, we seem selfish and greedy, while if we give too much, we end up completely drained of energy, time, and probably money too. So, lean towards the grays, which remain the preferred tones when it comes to finding a balance between prioritizing others and ourselves. And when in doubt, always remember the magic word, no, especially if they are offering to take you home from the car window. If you liked our video, like the video, subscribe, and comment so that YouTube knows that this type of videos helps people like you, and we can continue creating more similar videos in the future.